Hello, everyone. I'm happy to be here to share today because today is story time. Today's going to be story time of third eye parenting. And I have a personal story to share. It's a quick one, but this story is going to really demonstrate how active and dynamic parenting can be. So, story is my bonus baby. I have an 11-year-old girl bonus baby who came over at the house, and she hadn't been at the house for quite some time. So my 5-year-old daughter was so happy, and she just couldn't wait to get to spend time with her big sister. Well, turns out big sister had other plans. Now, mind you, she's an 11-year-old girl, and so she's in that preteen stage. My niece lives nearby and they're good friends. So she spent quite a lot of time with my niece and leaving my 5-year-old feeling alone, kind of set aside, feeling kind of rejected. I mean, my 5-year-old even came to me and said, Mommy, I had a dream. And in her dream, she went to a carnival and she was too big for the baby rides and she was too small for the bigger rides. So, in other words, my daughter was feeling left out and feeling rejected and feeling like she had no place to belong. To add more fuel to the fire, my bonus baby, who's 11 years old, like I said, was engaging in what is called relational aggression. For sake of simplicity, it simply means she was acting mean, right? So just being mean verbally, like the mean girl syndrome. Mean girl behavior is something that is so common in teenage girls or preteen girls, very common for girls, right? And so this is what's happening in the home. Now, as a parent, there's going to be so many ways that this can be handled. Depending on how you handle it, is going to yield varying results, right? So, can you think of how a parent that is stressed out or pressed for time or exhausted, how a parent like that may respond? Probably not in a good way. Like I can imagine some of my old school upbringing, and I can imagine that, an 11-year-old that acts in this verbal, meanness would have gotten into trouble, maybe cussed at, sent to her room, put on punishment, or even, given a beating. Another common reaction would be to just ignore it. We'll just ignore this mean girl behavior and just hope it goes away, right? And what about the 5-year-old? How would the 5-year-old be handled in maybe traditional or stressed out parenting? What would normally happen with the 5-year-old is that as long as she's not making a lot of noise, her feelings around this all would be just ignored, right? Even though my 5-year-old complained and felt rejected by her sister and she kind of felt left out, she wasn't crying. She wasn't demonstrating any like serious distress. So it would be easy to assume like she's fine. She'll be fine, right? But remember, I told you that this 5-year-old told me about a dream that she had that was playing out the scenario of her life right in that moment, right? So you would have to be attuned to be able to pick up on these things that your children are faced with, right? In any event, in parenting, um, when I discuss and I teach parenting, coaching and supports, we learn which parenting energetics is running the show, right? Is that aspect of your parenting supportive of your ultimate values and your ultimate goals? This is what we're going to try to uncover, right? Are the energetics that we're using, is it leaning towards masculine or feminine aspects of ourselves? Is it balanced? Is it out of whack? Is it overactive? Is it underactive? So we just learn to be more conscious of our energetics. Well, anyway, back to the story. In my case, I leaned towards the energetics of a protective parent. And what I did is I tried my best to minimize how often she would have to be left or rejected from hanging out with the older kids. I started taking her all over the place, whether it was food shopping with me or, getting her play dates to go out with some of her friends, right? I overdid it. Why? Why did I overdo it? Because I chose to enter into the feminine parenting space of protection parenting. People think protection parenting, they just simply think masculine protection. No, there is feminine protection, right? And this feminine archetype is known as the conservationist. I didn't do much talking or teaching or even nurturing, which are some other feminine aspects of parenting. No, I mean, I touched on them, but I didn't really, that didn't really run it wasn't in the driver's seat, right? What was running the show was the conservationist energy. I used my internal knowledge. I tapped in to understand what she needed. And in that moment, and then I kind of wrapped her in that protection, right? So that's how I meant that. And that's just one way. There's so many different ways I could have went about it. Now, what about my bonus baby, my 11-year-old? So my partner managed that situation and he managed it skillfully and masterfully, right? He spoke to her and my niece and gave them a space to express themselves, to talk about what was going on, made sure that they understood that no one was in any type of trouble. They were free to express, and that they did. In a nutshell, they basically expressed and exposed the jealousy that they felt, that they feel that the 5-year-old gets away with everything, and they elaborated on that. I would even go as far as to say that they felt jealous because they are currently desiring more affection, more attention, more acceptance, right? So this is what was underlying the mean girl stuff. They weren't just being mean because they want to be mean. Current understanding, sometimes you'll hear people say, oh, that's just what they go through. Teenage girls are just mean. They just have to be gossipy. They just have to be like that. That's just the way they are. It's a phase. They don't have to be that way. It's not just the way they are. It is something that is disconnecting them in relationships, right? And it's for a reason, right? Not just mean and disconnected for no reason. There's a reason behind it. So my partner was able to help them discover that, uncover what was driving this feeling of jealousy and what was driving this action of mean girl. And he was able to help them reframe how they viewed the 5-year-old and empower them to learn how to go about getting their needs met. I mean, it was beautiful and masterful, right? So what strategy do you think would be more beneficial for their development, for their connection, for our connection, for the harmony of the home, for the love, for growth, for expansion, for community, right? We can like flip out on the preteens because they should know better, and no one taught you how to act like this, and what is wrong with you, and I didn't teach you this, you should know better, right? Doing that is not going to really get us anywhere, right? All it's going to do is make these young people feel bad about themselves, have some shame, more shame around what they've done. And it's not going to help them uncover and understand and come up with tools and techniques on how to engage and how to overcome these stressful situations. This is the training wheels. This is the training ground. We do this on ground floor so that as they get older, as they grow, they have these skills and tools already. They're not teaching it in the schools. They may be trying to teach it in the schools, but it hasn't arrived yet. It has to be taught in the homes. Let's teach our children how to navigate these relationships, right? So we could flip out on them, punish them. You know better than to be acting mean to your sister. You better get right. I'm not having this. I'm not taking this from you no more. What are you teaching? What is going on here? Right? So you can do that, or you can cultivate that inner wisdom and discover what lies underneath your children's current state or their current actions, right? And then you can give them actionable tools, like I said, and teaching moments to help prepare them so that they can grow into their fullness and wholeness, and so that they can connect with others in a healthy and a wholesome manner. I mean, which would you choose? I think the choice is clear. Well, anyway, I'm so glad you guys listened. Leave a comment, like, subscribe, and get with this parenting work. We about to get this on and popping. All right. Thank you. So see you later. Bye.